Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively the Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Let's go, girls. Welcome to Tunnel Talk, a no facts, all feelings wrestling podcast on the Social Suplex Network. I'm Allie.
I'm Ann.
I'm Leah, and I like that you smiled a little bit through that one.
Me? Or
yeah,
sometimes Ann smirks at me a little because she can see me like centering myself.
This time you really centered yourself, and you kind of looked like a little bit like, well, here this goes. A little bit tragic going into it, just like, well, nothing for it, but...
Well, I've been dumping my woes on my coworkers. And then I think the last thing I said before I did this was, we have to do our podcast. Well, we don't have to. No, I mean, we do. And then it was like, okay, on with the show. How are you doing this week, girls?
It's been so rainy and nasty and cold.
Repulsive.
And I was on TikTok this morning, and I saw this guy from Boston who, just the second the TikTok launched, he was like, "It's fucking late May. I should be in shorts." And I was like losing it. I was like, "Yeah, that's the vibe."
Girl, same. Exact same. It's been so cold here. This morning, 4 of my toes went numb. And so I was like, fuck it. And I ordered lunch, and I went to pick it up, and then it was really warm in my car. It was warmer outside than it was in my apartment, and then my car, the heat was on, and then I just sat in my car for 20 minutes with the heater on, because I turned my heat off in my apartment ages ago. I can't live this way.
I will say
so
sitting in car is one of my favorite activities. I actually do it all the time, where I pull up to my house and then just sit there for another 10, 15 minutes.
A driveway moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very peaceful.
Yeah, well, there's quite a lot of traffic on my street, actually, so it's not that peaceful, but it was warm. So I waited until the feeling had come back into all my toes, and then I returned to my apartment, and I thought, if it's warmer outside than it is in my apartment, somehow, this is some thermodynamic shit I don't get, I guess I better open the windows. I hadn't opened them because it was cold, but I opened the windows, and it did get warmer in the apartment. So if anyone can explain what's been happening here, just let me know.
I actually broke and turned on the heat. It got so cold in here.
For you to turn on the heat outside your designated heat.
It's absolutely
I haven't
sick.
even turned on the heat. Yeah.
But it got to 59 here, and for some reason I can do during the day. I can do 59 when I'm trying to make it to November 1st. I'll live through it in October, but for some reason on the other side I can't do it. Can't do it.
Too light outside.
You lose the muscles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And Anne, have you even been able to go to the pool yet?
No, the opening was delayed, and I was telling you last week how brave I was being about it.
You were.
So it opened Wednesday, but it's freezing. Yeah. Although the weekend was beautiful, so I snuck out there because my patio gets shaded at a certain time of day, and so I was like, you know what? What if I just go into the pool area? It's fine. I'll just sit. It's very. There's hedges on each side, it's not very visible. So I was like, it's fine. But then Greg, who takes care of the pool, saw me, and he was like, oh, I can bring up a chair for you. I was like, you don't feel like you need to, but he did, which was really nice. So then I've gone out there to sit by the closed pool on my chair again, being like, I'm being really weird, but there's hedges, no one will see me. And then the second day I did this, 4 neighbors were all like, Ann, look at you, are you, this is so, wow, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? I was like,
oh my God.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for seeing me.
It is, I understand that the way that it's weird to be sitting out there by the closed pool, but something about the way you keep saying, and there's hedges, makes it sound like you're going out there to do nude sunbathing.
It does. It's fine. My nudity won't bother anybody.
But no, Toni, my neighbor, he was standing looking over the hedges, and what are you gonna do? I was wearing clothes.
To be clear, I was clothed.
Very believable. Well, as you can hear, everyone's doing really well this week, and it would be my pleasure in my current state of mind with the current trials I'm undergoing to share with you what, nevertheless, is making me happy.
You're being so brave.
I'm so brave, and I think this one is going to knock some socks off. Okay. Have any of you ever heard of a little album called Rumors by Fleetwood Mac?
I love where this is going. Yeah, they're a pretty good band.
Where it's going, that's where it went, and that's where it ends. This week, for some reason, I said, let's get into Rumors again. Let's see what's going on there. And what's going on is seminal classic.
Yeah.
One of the best albums of all. It's like every song that comes on, you're just like, fuck, that's on Rumors?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy how good that album is.
Never have people turned adultery into better art, I don't think.
No,
Yeah.
and like more unexpected art. Like when you say like they were having like tumultuous affairs and adultery, like you wouldn't, if you didn't know about Rumors, which we all do, you wouldn't think like, and the album that came out of it was Rumors.
Right.
But it is.
It seems like the story should end with like, and the band completely fell apart and nothing would, they never put anything together and everyone always thought what could have been. And it was like, no.
They made this, and years down the line, we were still getting to watch live performances of Silver Springs. You know,
my God.
like, God
If people haven't watched a live performance of Silver Springs, like go to YouTube right now because it is the most insane, like sexual experience you'll ever have. Yeah.
You will want to just lie down and quietly think cloud stories to yourself for hours after watching a live performance of Silver Springs.
Yeah. Is it the Kennedy Center one where she fully turns around and sings at him?
Yeah.
I think it's the Kennedy
really
Center
good.
one.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it is, but the right performance is crazy. When they're
Looking
just
at it in
staring
my-
at each other.
I'm looking at it
Yes.
in my mind's eye right now.
Yep.
And very pleased.
Time casts a spell on you that you won't forget me.
Yeah.
God. Let me just, if you haven't checked in for a while on Rumors, like you might be thinking, I know Rumors. Just go listen again and just have a new experience of it,
Yeah. I'm gonna do that after this podcast recording.
You're gonna be happy. It really is like it is just so because it starts with Secondhand News. Secondhand News, absolutely amazing song. You have it on repeat for a while, then you think better move on to the next one. And every song that comes on, you gotta put it on repeat for a little while and just really get the full experience of it. When you hit the chain and you're doing that.
Hell yeah.
Girl. Now you got a soup going,
Yeah. You know what's the craziest thing? Because I feel like at a certain point I just like read a fair amount of like interviews with them and stuff. And it's like, yeah, for a while, like Stevie Nicks was working while Lindsey Buckingham like played guitar all day and she was supporting him because he was the musical genius and she like had to support his vision. And it was like, okay, okay, patriarchy.
Grow the fuck up. So that's what's making me happy. It can make you happy too. And that's taken me, to be honest, I'm in 70s summer now, so I'm also doing Jim Croce, I'm doing Judy Sill. I'm having the time of my life over here while suffering in other ways.
I am also in a 70s summer situation, and actually my best friend's birthday was 2 weekends ago, and we came home and I was playing my Spotify playlist on her TV, and so it was like showing pictures of each artist, and I was making her do like would you hit it with each one of these people, which was amazing because there was lines that she had that I was like, that's crazy. But we hit Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and I made her rank them by fuckability. And this took up like fully 20 minutes.
Yeah,
she was
you've
so,
got to think about it. Yeah,
she was
serious.
so mean to Neil Young. I was like,
really? I gotta take
she was like in the
look at a little
garbage.
picture of Neil Young. Anna and I immediately both started Googling pictures.
Yeah, like I've never really thought to rank them, so we're need some
that's
pictures.
so interesting because Neil Young, when I look at he looks like a Who from Whoville kind of, but like fuckably. Like I see these young pictures and it's immediate smash for me.
Yeah, of course. I would too. And she was like, put him in the trash. He's like garbage to me. And I was like, what's happening here?
Don't say that to him.
People's individual sexual tastes are so fascinating.
Donald Trump's fight with Bruce Springsteen. This isn't protecting my peace. Stop.
Allie,
No.
get out of
Close
there.
the tab. Okay.
Close tab.
Well, I think this has all kind of been on topic for wrestling because what is Hangman Adam Page if not 70s summer?
Yeah.
And what
So
is
true.
Will Ospreay if not 90s summer? So,
Also very true. Yeah, it's like Will Ospreay is like putting on that 70s show, and then
Yes.
someone in the future will be putting on that 90s show. Yeah.
and, I know which summer that I want, but hey, let's get into it. Girls, come with me on a wild and wacky adventure. It's going to get fun. Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page opened Dynamite this week with an in-ring face-off on the mic. Extra security was in attendance, but Ospreay quickly dispatched them, promising that they would not be needed because no violence would ensue. And they'd still get paid, which I did appreciate. And then they all immediately left, which is like, no violence did ensue, but
Yeah.
how often is that the case?
That was like kind of crazy, right? Because I was kind of like, what was the point of that?
Well,
I
it's
don't
sort
know.
of like,
I
does
wasn't
he have
mad,
I was like,
but-
does he have the authority to do that? Because like, presumably they're there to keep him like
Right.
partially from doing the violence. So Toni must have ordered it. And does he have the permission to do that? But
I
don't
mean,
think they all listened.
You're right. Like someone getting up there and saying, I have no intention to do any violence. Security can just leave. Like that sounds exactly like what someone about to do violence
Yeah.
would
Do
say.
violence would
Yeah.
do.
I can just picture Toni at Gorilla listening to someone say, "I promise not to do violence," and him being like, "I've heard that before."
Or I can picture Toni being like, I guess, okay. And then violence ensues. And Tony's like, how could this happen? It's kind of interesting as a start to this promo segment because it is how I felt about this was pretty much how I felt about all of this, where it was like, you said that kind of like a good guy, but like, I don't think it's good. Like, I don't trust you. I do think you're going to do violence. So this was a long segment. I thought what we could do our English class house style on it because we have we have it transcribed. Thank you, Leah. And we have there are some big chunks. Ospreay gets a big chunk to start. Hangman counters with a chunk, and then Ospreay gets a semi-interrupted long big chunk to finish. So, what did Mr. Ospreay come out? What did he have to say to us in chunk one?
So I don't know. I think I liked this more than you guys did, but I think I had some sympathy for him because to me, he's Mark Antony, and he's Brutus, right? And he's coming out. Sorry, he's Brutus.
Yeah.
He's coming out, and he knows fucking somebody's gonna come out and who's gonna give a good speech, who's gonna like blow his socks off, and so he has to give this speech, and he wants to win over the audience, and he believes that he's right, but with just this shark fin, knowing that someone is gonna come out and destroy him. It's like, what do you do? Like, there's not much you can do.
You're like, what could he say that would be right
yeah,
with
like
Hangman
at this
to follow
point,
him?
with his character, like he, like, I don't know. To me, I'm just sort of like, he's not Hangman, and he had to go first. You know what I mean? Like, well, do you know how brutal that is?
In the first place, it is interesting to have him go first because Hangman hadn't gotten a long promo
Yeah.
before this, right?
don't
So
think so.
Ospreay's already had a long promo.
Oh, he
I
did
don't
have
remember.
the Hangman did have the
and-
"I can't believe you guys still cheer for me" promo.
Yeah.
Oh, Hangman started, but then Ospreay did the whole finish, and Hangman didn't say anything else.
That's true.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
so Ospreay is responding to himself, which in some ways is a strange move. I'm sure there's reasons that you might do that, but it is difficult to be like, and I did already say my piece, but let me now again say my piece again. And
Yeah, and he started with this like, "Hey, Hangman, do you still drink? Like, here's a beer thing," which felt. I was like,
It was
how am I
threatening.
supposed to take
It was
this?
threatening.
Yeah.
It felt very passive aggressive. It
Yeah.
felt like
Said,
I was
"No."
watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives a little bit. Like,
okay, I just know Ospreay would enjoy an episode of Secret Lives of
Oh,
Mormon
yeah.
Wives.
yeah.
Yeah, because he was like, no, I mean it nice. Like, I just want to have a drink with you because we're just two guys having a casual talk, and I just wanted to let you know that. What did he say in this whole thing? he kind of reviewed some of the logistics of why this is happening. Of course, we all want to get to the main event of All In. That's why we're fighting.
He was saying that he'd asked Toni to be the main event, even though it'll be hard to follow Anarchy in the arena, which was also a little bit like, oh, that's nice, I guess. Like, is that, I don't
Question
know.
mark?
Like, yeah, like, why are we discussing this? I don't know. It was like a little too, like, out of kayfabe for me, but also it just kind of a little bit confusing. Just like, oh, okay, that's nice. Great, buddy. I don't know.
It's fine. It's fine you believe in yourself. That's good. He said, I really want this, Hangman. I want this so bad because I feel like since the moment I've stepped here, I've done everything the right way. As one of you said, we all commute, okay? But he was like, I come to work every single week, okay? Yeah. And that's taxing. Well, it is. I agree. None of us like our commutes.
I'm giving that speech to my boss every day. Listen, I am here all the time. It takes me 15 hours to drive 6 miles to my workplace. Yeah, it fucking sucks.
Dude, I left work at 6:30 one day this week, and there was still worse traffic than ever before. Then I left work at 3 the next time, and there was the same amount of traffic. Like, what am I supposed to do here? There's nothing I can do. Anyway, so he said, I really want to be Hangman. And then he called Hangman Hangers, which was like...
Hangers with an S, yeah.
Sirens in your brain. Everything he did, like, I kept saying repeatedly throughout this segment and then the whole rest of the show, I kept doing Moonstruck gif, I'm confused, and saying I'm having a crisis of confidence because somehow this week, my ability, like I was just like, I no longer know if what I think I'm seeing is what I'm really seeing. And I have no confidence about whether what I believe is being communicated to me is what's being communicated to me. And some of you might be sitting there saying, like, it's pretty obvious. And I'm like, girl, that would have been me 6 months ago, probably. But I'm at a low point. Maybe wrestling is breaking my brain.
And I feel like in this episode in particular, there were a lot of like long talking segments in which people were trying their hardest, but kind of muffing their lines and saying things that were extremely weird, which I have a lot of sympathy for. Like I didn't mind it. I find it charming. And God knows from this podcast, like when you get on a live mic, you could say anything, but everyone was out there saying hangers. So they were saying they were one day guys. they were saying just the weirdest stuff.
Jesus. Okay, what if I try to set my crisis aside? What I would assume from Will Ospreay coming out with his hair straightened again, like he's the kind of cool tough guy in a 90s boy band. And from the beer thing and the kind of the passive aggression, like I was like, okay, Ospreay is kind of a bad guy here. A heel, you might say. He's that guy who is nice to you, but you know that he doesn't mean it. And you say, that's my nemesis. And your friends are like, he's really pleasant. I don't know why you always say that. And it's like, because he's evil. Because I can see in his heart that he's evil.
And I think his delivery contributed to that because he kept getting... I think sometimes wrestlers who are not as natural on the mic think that yelling makes them seem passionate. Yeah. But often they yell at sort of an intensity and a volume that doesn't seem quite appropriate for what they're saying or the situation they're in. So then you're just like, wow, man, like, take it down. And that's kind of the register he was hitting for me sometimes in here. He veered back and forth quite a bit.
He veered back and forth. Well, he ends this first chunk by saying, I know you want to be champ hangers, but I want it just that little bit more. All right.
Because he has a really long commute. That's why he wants it.
Well, he can't, I guess, unlike me, he can't suddenly decide to just like scream aloud 6 times in the middle of Delta First Class. So maybe he does have it harder. Okay. Hangman counters. What does Hangman hit back with?
So Hangman is basically like, I have spent the last 2 years in a horrible hole where my life has been terrible. I haven't won anything. I keep on Christmas morning staring out the window looking for someone who I know will never come back.
And someone was him?
I think it was Swerve. Ospreay named it as Swerve later. So.
I have to say I did get a little lost at that point, and I was like, I think he means him. Like,
I thought
don't know.
he meant himself. I thought he meant like the good guy that he believed in. Yeah.
Maybe I was wrong. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, Ospreay said later that he kept looking out the window for Swerve, so then I was like, oh, I guess that's what he meant. But
that's kind of fun. I think maybe Ospreay was being a little glib.
Maybe he was.
Okay, gay. Okay, yeah. So he says he had a really, really rough 4 years, and this is all really personal to him.
Right. Ospreay wants it professionally, but Hangman needs it personally.
Yeah. You want it. I need it. I need it for me. I need it for all the people who supported me. And I need it because I need to know that you were wrong when you said that for me it was too little too late. Okay. Then Ospreay comes back and hits him with a sorry, I forgot to mention earlier. Remember when you murdered your best friend mentor, Christopher Daniels? Which was an abrupt turn into very mean. And Hangman took a drink of beer about it, which was good character note. And so Ospreay has this whole final chunk. Does anyone want to say what he gets into in this? Girls, I put it in the schedule. We would work on it together.
He's basically like, I am going to be a guy who goes out there and does my best. And then Hangman's like, do you think your best is going to be enough against the Death Riders? And then Ospreay's like, I don't know. You know how to beat them. I don't know how to beat them. But I'm going to try. And also, I'll be your friend if you need me.
Yeah, he had a brief foray into I'm like, who knows? But I'm just going to come do my best, and that's all anyone can do. And by the way, nobody respects you anymore. So think about that. And think about all the people that I've beaten, and you haven't beaten anybody. And, but no, I don't know how to deal with Mox and the Death Riders. And I guess if we have problems with them, I would have your back. I hope you would have mine, and I hope we can be friends.
Which was an interesting swerve from all of the yelling and the mean stuff. It's just like...
So we've gone through I'm a professional with a commute, and I'd really like to win this belt. To you actually suck and nobody likes you anymore. But I do want to be your best friend.
I mean, in a way, it's all in character for Ospreay's character, I think.
It's true. He says what he thinks. Leah, you said you had some thoughts on the rhetoric.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it was entirely in character with what he's been doing some for, and it would have been incredibly strange if he came out and was pathos. I feel intense. I think he kind of some of the stuff that's what he has to work with, and it's do I wish he was having a different journey? It's but at the same time, I sort of feel these are the tools in his toolbox. He doesn't have that much. And I just felt what he was doing is almost the Mary Ingalls thing, where he's being so good because he wants people to admire that he's good. Yeah. And so some of that stuff, especially, at the very beginning where he was it doesn't, to be clear, this is, I would really want to be great at wrestling. And I want the belt, and I want... we can be normal about this. I just feel I'm normal about this.
Yeah.
But he set Hangman up with the beer and with some of the the passive-aggressive jabs, so that Hangman came back and was okay, but I'm not normal about this. Actually, this is the most important thing in my life, and I'm constantly teetering on a cliff. And some of that seemed to get to Ospreay at that point, where he was okay, to be clear, I also deeply care, and I've done a lot of cool stuff. Admit that I've done cool stuff. But I thought that what he was trying to do is seem so much more well-balanced and valedictorian of the class, and being I deserve to have the belt because I am way more emotionally healthy than you. You're a fucking train wreck. Which, to me, I'm yeah, of course it's not, of course Hangman blew him out of the fucking water. But to me, if I am not a 5-tool player and I have to go up against Hangman, I don't know. I mean, what kind of speech would you have written for him at that point?
I feel I don't know. My main issue with it is am I supposed to be rooting for Will Ospreay? because this doesn't make me want to root for him. So
No,
Right.
and that is sort of the thing that I think is going to be easier to come back and talk about once we know who wins the
sure,
like the
'cause
final thing.
if they're setting
Because-
up for a Hangman win, they're doing
Yeah.
great, I guess.
Because
But none of
again-
us believe that. None of us believe that for a
no,
second.
to be clear, we don't think so. But I think in some ways he's also in a tough position there because, and again, like this is just, I mean, like it's everyone's fault on this, but Hangman's turning face. And so it's like, how do you have a promo battle? Like, I don't know, like it's like you can't outface Hangman right now. Like,
But you could if you did. One of us said, I think you and Nan might both have said last week, like something along the lines of like, couldn't Will Ospreay just say like, I'm the main character of my own life. You understand
Yeah.
that, right? Like, yeah, you had a horrible 2 years. We've all had bad 2 years. Like, the fact that he never mentions the Kyle Fletcher stuff is so,
Yeah,
even
that's true.
obliquely, is just so crazy to me. It's very difficult for me to overcome, like, just like how bizarre that
Yeah.
is to me when I'm like, well, that's like the easiest tool in your belt to be like,
Yeah.
I'm a professional, even though like,
Yeah.
I came to this company and someone I thought had my back, like, fucking shat on me and I had to fight him a bunch of times and it fucking blew. But you know what I did? I just showed up to work. Like,
Yeah, you're
that,
right.
I think that would be a
Yeah.
good approach. And I think it to me, it wouldn't be out of character for Hangman to be able to push Ospreay to the place of kind of clumsily being able to say, like, I'm a person. Like, you're
Yeah.
not the only person alive. Like,
Right.
which I guess then does potentially could come off bad for Hangman. Like, I get that. But, like, I think it's...
But I
there's
think when Hangman is in the process of turning face, you could do it in such a way that Will Ospreay kind of like triggers him into bad behavior again.
Yeah.
You know, like a little backslide that's still like on his like turning journey without.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it is tricky when Hangman's turning face for sure to get in a place where it's like, but we don't want you rooting for him in this particular feud.
Right.
But yeah, I think the thing is, like in the last week's promo and this week's, is like he's fighting on Hangman's turf with a lot of this. Like he's
Sure.
coming in, like you have this whole journey, you want it, and it's like,
and
you gotta flip it to talk about
that's the
yourself.
that's the part I have beef about, where I'm sort of like, if Hangman doesn't win the Owen, which none of us believe he will,
No.
then it doesn't make sense for the entire, unless like for some reason him losing the Owen is gonna, but even then, like I was about to say, if it
Yeah.
launches him into something different that makes him losing it worth it, maybe, but I still don't, I sort of,
Yeah.
I agree with you guys, like, you know, that part of the positioning, it just fucks everything, where it just doesn't make sense
Yeah.
for
And
this
if
to
it
be
is-
entirely about Hangman.
Right. And if this is the run up to Ospreay winning the belt, which if he wins the Owen, I think he should win the belt. Like, you should be making a big Will Ospreay story for the next couple months.
I do wonder if the friendship overtures are going to be that, like, they are going to, you know, team up over the summer. And I
Yeah.
don't know how much that's going to do for either one of them.
That was the other insane thing where it's like, if you're wanting to make friendship overtures, this is the weirdest way. Like, the whether Will Ospreay hates Hangman or wants to be his friend, it just veered wildly in between, which I think someone could do something interesting with, but I'm not sure Ospreay has the tools in the toolbox to...
I don't know. Girls, I'm struggling. I mean, it's like, I want to be really clear. Like, I didn't think this was like a train wreck or anything. Like,
No, not at
I
all.
think that Ospreay did, you're right, Lee.
He tried
He
so
did
hard.
lots of stuff that was good. He delivered it well. Like, he hit points that were good, assuming he was doing all the kind of passive aggressive heel stuff on purpose, which I think he was. Like, that was great. I thought that was really, really good characterization, but I'm just having this struggle where I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. And then I'm like, maybe you're a baby who is like is becoming so damaged by wrestling that you're incapable of just like developing your own, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's like, maybe how you feel about this should be how you feel about this, and it doesn't need to be impacted by what you think the booker is like setting it up to be. But I'm not capable of getting there right now. So I just keep being like, what do you think that, like, you just tell me, like, what your goal was, and then I'll decide if I think that's what you did. I'm confused.
Yeah, well, the thing with wrestling, and I feel like this episode really brought it out, where it's like you have a lot of people who aren't actors
No.
doing doing things on screen. So there's a lot of times where you're like, and was that intentional? Like, I don't know that it was, which does make you feel crazy a little bit.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think I also keep struggling with, like, okay, I have to accept that, like, Will Ospreay, like, something like his best friend turning on him and hating him. The Will Ospreay character, despite being obsessed with making friends and loving making friends, now canonically, the Cloud story could not be realer at this point. Like,
really
this man is mid-heel promo and being like, but again, if you want to be besties, like, call anytime, day or night. Like, I'll pick up, unless I'm on my flight. I always take my flights, so it's like, you can't have a phone on those, but any other time, I'll be there. So it's like he loves making friends. He doesn't care that his friend turned on him. I'm like, okay, Allie, you have to accept it. You can't keep telling him that he has to care about that and talk about it if he doesn't want to. But then I get to a point where I'm like, well, why won't anyone else bring it up? Like, if he's repressing it and he's like, I'm a professional and I don't care that my friend turned on me, it's like, okay, well, someone else should be fucking trying to use it against you a little bit at least. Like,
yeah. Which honestly would be kind of a great character if he's like, I never knew anyone named Kyle Fletcher. Like, I have no idea what you're talking about. There's no trauma in my past. Anyway, will you be friends like, to anyone who says a kind word to him at all? Like, it's like, that could really work, but it would work well if then Hangman's taunting him about it or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know, girls. Do we have anything else that we wanted to talk about here? I mean,
their little synchronized walk out of the ring backstage was so fucking funny.
They had a little competitive beer chugging at the end, and then they, as you said, a synchronized walk up the ramp to look at the trophy for the Owen with their big match poster behind them. Yeah. It looked good. It looked really good.
Yeah.
Did Ospreay call it like the big beautiful cup or something?
He did.
It was,
I think.
Yeah, it was funny.
I think that's right.
I think he said it about the belt. About getting the belt back. If I remember transcribing
he said something
that part,
very
right?
complimentary about the belt.
said something about getting his big beautiful belt or whatever he calls it back.
I hope I'm not conflating those.
I don't know. Anyone could have said anything. I mean, I was really going through it. But you're right. That looked really good. The other potentially complicating factor, I don't know if you guys even want to touch on it at all. Darby Allin made it to the top of Everest and presumably is coming back down the mountain. They don't let you stay up there. You got to come back down. So he'll be back in the mix. Any thoughts on when?
I think you have to come down slowly too, because you have to reacclimate to. Because I think
you don't get the bends.
Yeah, because
pretty much.
You have to stay at base camp on your way because you have to acclimate, and then you have to stay at base camp for a while on your way home because you have to de-acclimate. That's fun, isn't it?
It is fun. Like, I could. Never mind. It's really fun. So it could be a while before. I don't know how long you have to stay there to not get the bends.
I don't know. I don't know. I wish that website would go back to doing daily updates on Darby. It's fucked up.
His log got shut down.
Yeah.
So hateful.
I think he won't be back at Double or Nothing anyway. And
But he could be back for All In. Obviously, something people have talked about for a long time is Darby going to come back and take the belt. I know it's a very unpopular opinion right now, so it's like if you need to, you can just skip forward a couple. Okay, guys, I don't mind if he gets the belt. That's okay for me. I like watching him wrestle. Do I think he's gonna cut good promos? No, he's done one good promo that no one will acknowledge, but no other ones.
With Ethan Page.
Do I think he's gonna tell good stories? Probably not. But will I like the matches? Yes. And will every match I'll be like, he definitely could lose this? Yeah, and that would be fun. And I wouldn't let him keep it for a long time, but that'd be okay with me. Yeah. So
yeah,
I hope you skip this if you have to. Okay.
It'd be deranged to have kept Mox with the belt and wait for Darby when he's been gone, so you can't build it. But honestly, at this point, like, any belt change is going to be insane. Like, they're not setting up anything well, so it's like, this might as well happen.
It is almost like, well, let's just get it off Mox onto someone who's like, there's no expectations, pretty much, like, except for great matches. And you'll have great matches. I don't, if you don't like Darby matches, that's rough for you, but sucks to suck,
And one of the things that pisses me off, does make me mad about the Darby stuff, is that like all of a sudden some really reasonable people start discovering that actually they're clairvoyant. And I'm seeing these Discord posts and these tweets that are like, so when Darby takes the belt at this exact time in this exact way, it will be bad and I will hate it and I will stop watching AEW. And I'm like, hasn't happened yet. And they're like, and there's like, there'll be like a series of messages about this. And I'm like, you seem really upset. Is this like, well, how are you getting yourself this upset about something that has not happened yet? Hasn't happened. Yeah. You don't know how you'll feel about it.
Don't know how it'll happen.
You might
don't know what it'll be
Darby
like.
taking the belt. You might hate it. But you don't know that yet. It hasn't happened.
Once again, no one knows the future. You just know your anxieties about the future.
Right.
Do a little CBT worksheet.
It's like, what is the stupid little Punnett square? Like worry once and it's good. Then you suffered once. Worry and it's bad. Then you suffered twice.
It's I believe it's fool me once, times. Shame on you. Fool me twice, won't get fooled again. Which actually, I guess, like, fool me twice, won't get fooled again is kind of where my crisis of confidence in wrestling is coming from. Where I'm just like, I don't know, so many times I've thought it's been really clear what people were communicating, and then it turns out they weren't communicating that at all, and something totally different was going on, and I got left with this egg all over my face, and I'm not in the mood to have egg on my face right now because it's really cold outside. So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, maybe we just can't necessarily understand anything, and we certainly can't know anything that hasn't happened yet.
That is the total tagline. At the end of the day, we don't know anything. And you can't know anything.
No.
It would be
no way to know it.
So many of you refuse to acknowledge that it would be impossible to truly know anything. Okay? We're all just doing our best. I think there were some highs. There was some confusion, but that might be a personal issue. And at one point, I thought, like, maybe Will Ospreay should just tell Hangman to go to therapy. And then it's like, maybe I should go to therapy. So let's move on to the next section. As did the men's Owen finalists get an in-ring meeting. So too did the women. And the women got chairs. And I really, like, visualized Tony Khan being like, see, I treat women well. Well, unless they were made of gold and they got to take them home at the end of the night, give the women some more money. What did Mercedes and Jamie get up to? Well, they had a little back and forth that contained... It was... What did they get up to? Yes. Jamie seemed to understand that perhaps she needed to establish a little more about her character. Mm-hmm. So she did give this promo where she was like, I've been the champ before. I've been at rock bottom too. I'm always going to come back. I'm always going to fight. And I do my own work. I put my pants on one leg at a time. And, I'm a fighter. So just keep that in mind. I think that's kind of the gist of it. Mostly the pants thing for sure. And then Renee was out there mediating this. So then she asked Mercedes, like, you've never lost here. Like, do you think maybe you could lose to Jamie? And Mercedes was like, absolutely not. I certainly couldn't lose to Jamie. Like, I'm actually fine. I'm the Beyonce of women's wrestling. And I'm not looking past you. I'm looking straight through you, like the glass doll that you are. And then she went on, she talked for a little more, and then eventually Jamie baited her into some fisticuffs. They had some fisticuffs, and Jamie kind of knocked her out.
Can I say also, Jamie, the way she baited her into it is she said, basically it was like, oh, Mercedes, I hear you lost your belt. And she said, and I know that because I watched it, which to me sounded like us bragging every time we actually watch Collision.
No big deal. We're colliders.
Yeah, no problem. On the television,
like,
I saw it happen.
I bought the pay-per-view. You didn't think I had access to that?
Yeah, I got some cash. Tony Khan gives me a little walking around money.
I felt like, and when I will say, I watched a number of segments back today in order to transcribe them. When I watched them back, they all came off better, like, than they did the night of. So I know that part of what was happening was that something was real broken in my brain.
Something was going weird with you because I would say every 10 to 15 minutes, you would just ask this like deeply existential question where you'd be like,
Remember that.
now what is wrestling?
Well, that's how
And
I felt.
How do you know what you feel? And who experiences feeling? And what is the point of pain?
I kept coming back into my body, listening to these segments and just being like, what is this? Like, it was like watching wrestling for the first time to me, where I was just like, I have no fucking clue why this is happening.
It like wasn't just you though, because I rewatched some of these tonight too, and I was like, oh, it was more normal than I thought. But I feel like when you go in expecting like pretty normal, and they're kind of weird and off, and then there's like a lot of them, like it cumulatively ended up making me feel like, I don't know, they were both very marble mouthed in the segment. And again, it's like you're live. It was totally fine. And why is everybody talking with their eyes half closed in this promo? The delivery was so weird.
For a while, Mercedes was also really slouched in the chair, like boneless. And I was like, this is such an interesting way to deliver this promo.
When I was transcribing these promos, I did just try to transcribe a lot of the pauses too. And it's like, what was happening in there? God love them both. What was happening in there was unreal. Okay, on listening back, it was all much more normal. Like, I wasn't asking, like, what is this? But they were both doing some very weird talking.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay. Girls are allowed to do that. That's not a problem.
We certainly have weeks where we do very weird talking.
Most of them.
Certainly true.
Okay, but I think ultimately, kind of normal, not that illuminative about what's going on with anyone. Mercedes at one point said, like, what did she say? She was like, I'll show you why I call myself the CEO, because it's more than just about winning for me. And I was like, what do you know about CEOs that I don't? What does that mean?
I just opened the transcript too, and I forgot she said, I always get what I want, and my destiny is my reality, and my reality is that I'm going to head to all in. Like, what?
And that was kind of great, because I was like, oh, it's like a manifestation TikTok. Like, that's fun.
I want someone at some point to be like, Mercedes, define what a CEO is. Like, what do those letters stand for? And what do you think what responsibility, or role does that person play in the world? And what do you think?
Yeah.
Let her riff. Like, let's just see where that goes.
Actually, I'd love it to be one of those like things they put up on Instagram on AEW. Just ask all the wrestlers what a CEO is, and just see what they think.
Sure, like, what does CEO stand for,
too.
and what does it do? What does the
What's their
CEO
job?
do?
What are the
who do they report to?
responsibilities of a CEO?
Don't you think like most of the wrestlers would sound like preschoolers when you ask them what their dad does at work?
Yeah.
They would be like,
Goes to
they're on Zoom and they sell stuff.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know. Sometimes I see my CEO and I ask, like, why we can't get more barbecue chicken and catering.
I text my CEO late at night, and it's like, yeah, of course we all do.
Oh my God. Okay. Anything else you want to say about Mercedes and Jamie, who will be fighting at Double or Nothing?
It's going to be a good match. For all that promo was
for sure
crazy. Jamie has been doing a lot of weird stuff with her character, but I really like her wrestling, and I think Mercedes has really been on a kick lately. So I think it's going to be a fabulous match for all that.
Yeah.
I think they're both kind of Looney Tunes.
Yeah. And I made a lot of fun at this promo, but to be clear, I had the time of my life. Like, it was so entertaining.
I'm really not complaining. I'm like, I don't know that I learned a lot, girls. But I had a blast, and I asked some very deep existential questions that no one answered for me, and maybe I should go to therapy. That's the theme of the episode.
What is the meaning of humanity? Why are we all here?
Why are we all here? Sometimes when you're watching wrestling, you know what? This is what we were talking about before the show. It's like you are just like, what is this? Why am I doing this? And then it is just like, well, the time will pass anyway. So why not? Why the fuck not?
We're just like FTR, thinking about whether to turn on our best friend or not. Why not?
Why not? Okay. Toni Storm. Oh, no. So Mina Shirakawa versus Julia Hart was the main event of Dynamite. Some among us did ask why. There was kind of not in a mean way, but like...
Not in a mean way. Nothing against them. But the show seemed very clearly oriented around like the whole Death Riders thing. And they put that in the middle of the show.
I guess maybe they didn't want to do it all at once, though. Like,
I guess.
Because they kind of hinted earlier, like, you'll be seeing more of... the Anarchy in the Arena crew. So maybe they wanted, it's like to keep butts in seats and eyes on Mr. Nielsen. Maybe.
Maybe.
Toni did come out at the end of the Mercedes Jamie thing. And so there was like a little overlap. And she was going to be on commentary for Mina versus Julia, which was the next thing, which is the main event. This is a fun match. Mina won. Julia was really mad that Mina won, so she started beating her up. And Sky Blue came out to join her mentor, Julia. And then they were both beating Mina up. And Toni, who has honor, ran out to help Mina. And she did drive the bad girls off, but Mina wasn't very appreciative and instead tried to snatch Toni's belt. And then they had a little fight where they were like yanking the belt back and forth, which was fun. And they got into a skirmish. They're outside of the ring even. Where aren't they skirmishing, girls? And that's what you missed on Glee, I think, there.
Yeah. I think it's fun that Mariah's vibe, I mean, not Mariah. I wish Mariah was back. Mina's vibe is very much like, hey, I like Toni, but I'm always out for myself first. So, like, she used to do that with Mariah, too, where it's, like, do you remember we used to make that joke that, like, Mariah was in love with Mina and Mina liked Mariah a normal amount? That was kind of the vibe, too, here, where, like, Toni came running out to save her, and Mina was like, can I get that belt, though?
Yeah.
Can I just get that belt?
Toni was like, do you want to have kind of a loaded moment where it's like, I know we're about to fight, but, like, you remember, like, that one night, and that stayed with us? And Mina was like, I have a lot of one nights. What I would like is one belt.
It's very fun for her. She really works that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this was good. I'm excited for this match, which I think will be really good. It is the kind of thing where it's like, well, Mina she's not going to win the belt because Toni's definitely going to fight. I'm going to say Mercedes, but prove me wrong, TK. I already said I don't know anything. So whatever. But there are kind of like, let's smush these sections together and say as we head towards Double or Nothing, then towards All In. What are you envisioning for the women, for their two belts and,
This is going to be so embarrassing if this episode comes out and then Mina's our new champ and we're going to have to be like,
let's say that here right now. I think that'll be fun, not because I want Toni to be gone. I love Toni as champ, but like if it were an upset and, do whatever you want. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I've given up. I don't care. Not in a bad way.
I love Toni Khan to prove that we can't see the future, just be like, I'm going to do something weird.
I want to feel alive. I want something the AI would never book.
It's also fun that like the women's division right now does have enough people that all of the possibilities would be cool. You know what I mean? Like Mina would be fun. I mean, she probably would be a transitional champ, but like she would be so fun for like a month or two, and then Mercedes could beat her. And then like if Jamie ends up beating Mercedes and goes against Toni for the belt, I wouldn't mind a Jamie run.
No.
And it's like I'm excited for whatever the fuck Mercedes is going to be doing to get out of her belt.
Probably learning about CEOs. Could be a big masterclass summer.
Yeah. It's just very cool to be in a position where I'm like, girls, you're all winners to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how good the women's department
I think that was sexism
right now.
The ladies department. We got the men's division and the ladies department. No, but it does rock.
Yeah, come so far. I mean, they're doing better than a lot of the men's divisions. So
Agreed.
Lowe's knows that no matter your paint or stain project, saving is at the top of your to-do list. Save now with buy one, get one half off select paints, stains, and primers from top brands like Valspar, HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams, and Cabot via Visa gift card rebate. Find more Memorial Day deals now at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Offer valid 5/15 through 5/28.
Okay, let's move on to Swerve, Samoa Joe, and Will Hobbs fought Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks on Dynamite. This was the first match of the night following the Ospreay and Hangman Open. So we got a long Mox entrance, and do you want to say what you said about this, which I like very much?
well, it's just in full daylight because he started outside the arena, so it's just harder to be tough in the summer when you're like, yeah, it's like 3:00 in the afternoon, and I'm walking in the sun.
It was also very funny to me because this followed immediately after the Ospreay Hangman promo, and Mox had a mic at the very beginning, and I think he said one or two things, and then the mic disappeared, and it took me so long to be like, oh, he's coming in for the match. Oh, I thought he was going to do something.
I also had that journey. Yeah. Did you guys watch his Collision promo? Because it was extra deranged. I don't even know.
I tried, but it was one of those times where I was it was on and I was looking at it, but I was taking in nothing that he said.
No, he's spoken riddles, but I kind of loved it. But it was what's going on with you?
Okay, here's an idea. We asked Mox to cut a promo about what a CEO is.
Yeah, I think we could get somewhere there. Yeah.
I have no idea where he would take it, but I know it would be somewhere unfathomable. Yeah, I also, even though I knew this match was happening, I don't know, for some reason, maybe it was because it was just it's kind of the golden hour. He's just strolling through. I also had the moment of being oh God, first match.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not any of our greatest nights, maybe. This match rocked.
So good.
Yeah. So
in
fun.
a way, this is what do you call it when champagne problem? It's a champagne problem that now we're having these party matches every week. They fucking rock. Every time when I'm watching them, I'm just God, this is why wrestling. This is why wrestling.
Yeah, this is why I'm still watching. Yeah.
And then I have to do our schedule, and I just feel like the dumbest bitch in the world, being absolutely great match, had the time of my life, and then it's nothing. I can't explain what happened. No idea what I saw. I'm move fast.
I agree. Sometimes it feels like I can't explain to you how much this was the highlight of the episode. I literally can't. I don't have the words to explain. We're talking about other things I enjoyed way less, but I have more to say about them. This was great. I really enjoyed it. Sorry, I sound like an idiot.
No, it's when you watch, you're just watching it. You're just God, I love watching this. I'm just watching with both of my eyeballs. Exactly like Jamie being you know how I know that? Because I saw it. It's just I just saw the whole thing and I liked every minute of it and I laughed at the parts I was supposed to laugh at and I got stressed at the parts I was supposed to get stressed at, and then it's afterwards it's what happened in fun stuff. Shut up. Don't talk to me. What do you mean? Whatever. What did I try to do here? Okay, so for the ending, Swerve, the Bucks were trying to EVP trigger him. He ducked it. Samoa Joe kind of ducked in to get his claws into Nick, and Nick was hamily being somebody come help me, and so Matt was God, I've got to go help him, and then Swerve got it took him by surprise and rolled him up, and so the good boys won the match. And this triggered, of course, a long clown car where the Death Riders were mad about losing, so they start beating people up, and then Shibata returns out of nowhere, and he starts fighting back, and then Marina beats someone up, but then Willow, it's the women are kind of handlers for each other in a way, because then it's oh, Willow, you're lioness, she got out of the cage again. Right. Willow's oh God, right,
get in there,
I'll come deal with the lioness. So Willow comes out to deal with Marina, and then Kenny's music hits, and Kenny jackrabbits onto the scene, and he is running fast, and he said, Stop fucking saying that I'm quiet quitting. I'm fucking fine. And I immediately said he's figging. He has the ginger in his butt.
He definitely visited the figging stable. He was so He was so sick of being like people being like, "Why are you so low energy?" And so he went to the figging stable.
Tony
and he got
Khan's
a little...
complimentary figging stable where any tired little wrestler can say, you know what, I probably need just a little gingy up the butt. And that'll, I just can't get there with my mind, but that would get me there. Perfect.
He made the rudest beeline for Matt. And he was like, it was one of those things where it was like, fuck this guy in particular.
Yes.
And he went after Matt. And I was like, this is so rude. This is incredibly rude.
It was rude, but it was erotic. I got really excited. Like, I was like, thank God. Like, I can't have him forgetting how deeply he feels about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if it is coming out in, rage violence right now. So then, well, to your point, Leah, Kenny zeroes in on Matt. He's beating up Matt, and he's like, I've got something a little special in mind for you. Boys, get the table. And he's kind of conducting like a symphony of murderscaping where it's like, yes, and then I'll get him to the apron, and then I'm going to one-winged angel him onto the table, and that'll show him never to dump me. But then this shot was so good to me.
It was so good.
Claudio slides into the ring, like comes up behind, and Matt is on Kenny's one shoulder, and Claudio just gets him like a little sack of potatoes, slings him over his shoulder, and carries him the whole way out of the ring. Yeah. I lost my mind.
Yeah, it was perfect. The timing was exactly what you needed, and it looked so funny for big old tall Claudio to just scoop Matt up in his arms and be like, I've got you, little buddy, let's go.
And Matt had that kind of kicky energy of like, I had it under control, I could have gotten out of it, and Claudio's just like, okay, buddy, this is what I get paid for, though. Just get you out of those situations.
Claudio carrying people is one of life's great pleasures. You remember when he just picked up Mox, like Mox was a big dog?
Yeah.
God. That was great. Additional discussion points. We did get some new Young Bucks gear, perfectly matching.
Yeah,
except
think
for the
they
necklines.
wore it. I know.
We've seen it before.
No, I did.
New Japan.
When I watched New Japan.
Oh, okay.
But it was so badly lit that in New Japan that I really didn't get a full glimpse of it. And I think in the match they just looked like flat white and black, and it wasn't until later that we were like, oh, it's fucking shimmery. Yeah. That fucking rules.
I wonder what's going on with that fabric that it didn't show up in the ring, unless I really missed it, but like that it showed up backstage. I was kind of like, the ring seems like the number one place that shimmery fabrics should show, but it was great. It was like a rainbow pattern kind of deal.
Sometimes that happens though, because I think the pink gear also looked like regular flat fabric, and then it wasn't until it was on BT I was like, it has a kind of checkerboard like pattern to it. How come that doesn't show
Tony,
up?
Can't you invest in some specialty light bulbs for your boys?
Can we get like special Young Bucks cameras that like when the Young Bucks are out, that like the high def cameras come out and we really see everything that we need to see?
It sounds like a job for Brandon Cutler, who we'll never see again, I guess. Okay. Also, I thought Nick looked very cute all night. I thought it was a big night for Nick.
It was a big night for Nick because Nick's eyes were so blue. Wow. It ruled. Also, one of the funniest moments was Nick went to go do something, and Matt goes, do something badass. And he lost it. And Nick did do something badass. It was one of those nights where he was like really like hyped up.
I know. I said he drank his Tigger juice, and then I said, I wish I hadn't typed that. I also do want to call out, listener Blue Jam posted on the Social Suplex Network Discord this screen cap. They were saying this is the moment when Mox fell in love with being a middleman for the Bucks. And that is exactly what it looks like. He's just looking, Matt is being a ham, and Mox is just looking at him like, God, you make loving fun. You make I got my smile back.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
I'll get right in that middle. Yeah. It'll be different this time.
Listen, I could have missed the pain, but I'd had to miss the dance. I love. So they now are fully up to. They've got 3 middlemen on the roster right now.
Yeah.
God, I
Yeah.
said,
if Jack Perry ever comes back, it's 4.
I wish he fucking would. I want to see all these middlemen living in a Big Brother house together, to be honest. I said, have we ever discussed this idea? You take every middleman the Bucks have ever had, and you put them in a tournament together to decide the ultimate middleman, where the prize is being the Bucks middleman for as long as they'll let you.
I want to see that
Incredible.
so bad. And I want this tournament to take as long as the Owen takes. And I want people to be giving promo battles about it.
Yes.
I want 2 men to be standing in the ring being like, oh, you want it? I need it.
And I want...
And like giving their qualifications for, you know, how nice they'll be to the Bucks, how supportive, how, you know.
Yeah, and I also honestly wouldn't mind if you did a tournament like this at a time when, like, Kenny is in this kind of mood, and Kenny's still entering the tournament and being like, ultimately, of course, like, I have permanent custody of them. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you think you're going to get custody of them?
I want him, like, people, like, somebody tries to get, let's fucking get Alex Marvez back. Someone sticks a mic in front of Kenny and is like, you know, Kenny, the finals of the Young Bucks tournament are coming up. Are you excited or something? And Kenny's like doing his thing where he's like, no, I'm so mad at them. I'm going to murder them. And they're like, why are you in this tournament? And he was like, because it's mine. Like, that place is mine. And I don't care how mad I am at them. Like, I'll give up that spot when I'm dead.
What's the post that I love that's like, it's awful work? Yeah, it is, especially when it's you. That's Kenny with the Bucks. The other thing I want to say, this takes us a little wider, but for some reason I was thinking about it earlier, and it was the funniest thing in the world to me. I was thinking about us every week basically being like, why can't we see Alex Marvez? Like, telling our cloud stories about Will Ospreay, just being like, this is our perception of the program. And then, like, Alex Marvez goes away and we're like, well, how am I supposed to understand the product anymore? And I was thinking about that on Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling, when sometimes Sarah would be like, God, remember J&J Security? Like, don't you think that could still come back? And Marty was like, it's never coming back. Like, it was a one-time bit. And I'm like, at the time, I was like, oh, I get that. That's funny. And now I'm just like, Sarah Shockey, you have always understood my heart.
You always understood.
You've always understood my heart.
Yeah. What if Alex Marvez never comes back?
Talent show.
Who was
Fucking
it recently?
talent show.
Oh my God. Someone recently was like, well, he's got a backstage role. And I was like, Toni, you cannot keep taking people that I love and giving them backstage roles. That is not cool.
No.
You need to put them in front stage where I look at them.
And also, isn't it sexist for all the backstage interviewers to be women?
Yeah.
All the support staff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A pretty bad look, I think.
Yeah. Very few of them as talented as Alex Marvez.
No.
It's a problem with DEI.
Oh my God. They got her, guys. They got her. The admin got her. She's fucking kidding. But I do think that, like, it shouldn't just be like hot women interviewing wrestlers. I think Alex Marvez should be back there too.
Yeah, I think.
Bring the hot men like Alex Marvez.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And bring the men who can make that face he makes when he's like, I guess I gotta knock on the Young Bucks door right now, but I just know it ain't gonna end good for me. But I guess I gotta do it because I have to feed my family.
You gotta feed my family.
And I want more segments where he's somewhere that he shouldn't be, and it's improbable that he made it there.
It's just us. No.
No, I was like, Alex Marvez is Doctor Who. He can travel through time and space.
Like, how did you get here? I'll never reveal my source. God, it's going to be 5 years from now. It's going to be J&J Security. Like, God, what if Alex Marvez was there? It was good, but what if Alex Marvez had been there?
Yeah,
We're gonna
and
be
people who aren't even watching AEW now, they won't start watching for another 2 years. They'll be like, God, I wonder what Alex Marvez was like. And then they'll like look up old clips and be like,
Now, what do you think is going on here?
Why are they always saying they wish you would crawl like a worm?
The next time, if we ever have to interview anyone ever again, we're going to end it being like, now tell us something nice about Alex Marvez.
Alex Marvez, please.
God, yeah, that's right. All right. Okay, so Samoa Joe hops on the mic at the end of this, spitting a lot. He's always spitting on that mic, which is fine, I guess.
They shouldn't do such close-ups on him when he's talking because it really is quite a spit situation.
It's very wet.
Yeah.
But he was basically like, this isn't the last you'll be seeing of us tonight because we'll be hunting you all night to the bad boy crew who are standing there. I think Matt Jackson is just being like, what, me? Who? I was doing fine. So then after the main event, this is why we were like, why did the main event happen when it happened? After the main event, we go backstage. The Bucks are back in their shirts. They came out no shirts. Beautiful. Great bodies.
Yeah,
I mean, they're just looking
it.
so good. And it's like, when
Looking
I
so good.
think about where we are now versus where we are where we were 9 months ago, it's just like, oh, thank God. I mean,
Yeah.
It is funny. Our vibe right now is like, we have to affirm that every time we do it.
I just
can't
feel
let a
like
week go by.
you can't let good work go unnoticed.
Right. It was like all this time that I had been watching wrestling, like, of course, like, I was appreciating the Young Bucks bodies,
know
but
we had to say
I
it
wasn't
this
doing
much.
gratitude practice. Yeah, I didn't know,
I know.
we had to do gratitude practice until they took it
know.
away from us. And now it's like, okay, I've learned my lesson. Every day I wake up and I say, thank you, Matt
It's
Jackson,
true.
for your body. Thank you so much.
What if every 3
know.
weeks
We
you
watched-
came and said, what's making me happy is that
If I thought you would let me get away with it, I would absolutely do
I
it.
wouldn't, but
It's true. We used to watch Chuck Taylor wrestle without his shirt on, and we didn't appreciate it at all. And then we complained about not seeing him wrestle without, with his top covered. And then we didn't even appreciate that we were still seeing him wrestle.
And then we didn't even appreciate it when we were seeing him dressed as a crewman, not fitting either way right, on top or bottom, getting beaten up. We didn't even appreciate that the way we should have.
It is, our experience in wrestling is the biggest argument for gratitude practice that I think I've ever had. Like, we need to start waking up every morning and listing the
It's a
things that,
limited
like,
time.
our blessings.
Our blessings.
Yeah.
And saying,
things can be taken from you at any moment.
they really can.
Haven't seen Orange Cassidy in weeks.
Well, it's like when you
months.
do buds, thorns, and blossoms. This doesn't actually make sense because a thorn doesn't become a bud or a blossom, but it's like a flower does not last forever. That much I have learned.
Yeah, that's true.
Gather ye
I think
rosebuds
wrestlers-
while ye may. Is that anything?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think wrestlers would love us comparing them to flowers.
beautiful,
But that is
beautiful.
what they're like. They're beautiful,
Beautiful
flowers, and
flowers.
they bloom
But,
for a
but
short
for
period.
season. Yeah.
But for a season.
What is it? What is it? Oh,
And then they go to a backstage job.
and this same
in the
and this
fall.
same flower that some things today, tomorrow will be dying. My God. Poetry. Well, what are
What are we talking about?
Hey, what are we talking? I was listening to a podcast the other day. I thought, it's so weird. This person has never once said, what are we talking about in the entire podcast. Do you
kinda
think that is...
Stayed on topic?
Do you think-
Did they praise anyone's bodies on
I didn't
that
hear them
podcast?
talking about the bodies, no. Perhaps an indictment of my hosting skills. Okay, so they said, we'll be hunting you all night. Later in the night, after the main event, the Bucks are backstage. Renee says, where are you guys going? They're like, we're trying to catch a flight, Renee. She's like, what about Samoa Joe saying that he would, like, beat you up? And they were like, well, he hasn't fucking found us yet, so I guess he won't. And then moments later, of course, the good boy crew falls upon the Bucks, and everyone's there. And I don't know what order they came in or where they came from, but everyone is there.
Renee also, when, like, they popped out, gave the most satisfying scream. She was like, ah!
Who could have seen this coming?
Just picturing in my mind palace, did they come out kind of from behind a curtained area? I feel like it's just like they're hiding, which is
It was
cute,
the
I think.
vibe was very much like they were lying in wait, waiting for the Bucks to get to a
just stay
certain
by
part.
the door.
Maybe Renee was in cahoots with them. She was like, you guys wait behind the curtain. I'm going to pause them. And so that'll get you the setup. And then it's going to be really satisfying when you jump out then.
She's like, my husband is, we've got to end this. We've got to end this reign. So I am now working against him in secret.
Oh my
But
God.
She's like, I need him out of that bunker.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Honestly, that's pretty hot. I like that. I
Yeah,
like that.
I'm into it.
It takes a strong woman to destroy her man when that's what the situation calls for.
Heroic.
So we get this whole end segment. This is our overrun, where we've got all of both teams. They're in a big fight. It spills out from the backstage. Some highlights here. Kenny chokes Nick out with a chain and then throat punches him. So then Matt has to beat up Kenny some more. His boobs are way out. Looks so fucking awesome.
Oh my God, he looks
Samoa
so good.
Joe and Mox were kind of just like walking around after each other outside the ring, which was funny. It was like really fast action, and then you saw them just kind of like kind of walking with you.
That's kind of emblematic of the last 6 months. Yeah.
Kenny caused poor Nick to crush his balls on the top rope. That is funny dick comedy, which we love. So we saw some respect between Kenny and Swerve. Samoa Joe, once again, and he is laser focused on this aspect of the feud, tries to choke Mox to completion against the barrier, but at the last second.
That's what Mox likes.
Gabe Kidd swoops in. What does he have in his hands? It's Mox's briefcase containing the AEW World title. And what I said to myself was, this feels like someone, Mox, who did not complete their annual security compliance training, because there is no way that you're supposed to let somebody from another company be in possession of our world title. Like, don't...
Especially when that member of the company is on record for for being a
not
hater.
liking us.
Yeah.
This is like
You're
IT.
so mean about AEW.
It's like IT coming to my coworker and being like, okay, so you received an email from an AOL account. And it said, click this link to get free money, and you clicked it. It's like, yeah.
Everyone likes free money.
Everyone likes free money.
What do you mean?
That's Mox being like, what do you mean why did I give my briefcase to someone who hates AEW? He asked for it.
Got to be some kind of equivalent. Every year I have to do some stupid hour-long online training where it's like, I would never log into my work accounts on my personal computer. I would never access company files without a VPN. I would never use airport Wi-Fi to check my email. Like, it's like, you don't have anything like that. That's just like, I would never leave the belt at a steakhouse. I would never willingly hand my belt over to a competitor. Perhaps that's an argument for the belt not being in there at the end of the day. I don't know. And then there was Big Buck's table spot where they got Kenny and Swerve all set up on two tables, and they jump on them. And they broke the tables really nice and clean. You love to see it. And it's going to be Anarchy in the arena.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
Thoughts? Yeah, it's going to be a really fun match. I'm very stoked.
This is another thing where we're gonna sound like less, I don't know, like we're gonna give this less attention than it deserves, but it's really hard to know what to say other than like, this match is gonna happen. It's gonna fucking rule. Yeah. I'm gonna be laser focused on it the whole time. I'm gonna have the time of my life. I don't like. It's like, just gonna be fun.
What are the implications of this match, like storyline wise, gonna be? No fucking idea. I don't have a fucking clue. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, I don't really give a shit right now. Because it seems like probably not that intense.
No.
Probably.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be... I don't think so. Nice. I mean, we'll see. If Eddie comes back, that'll be a big thing. But like...
Yeah. Do you want to talk about why that's in the mix?
Yeah.
Well, I thought you would say it.
Oh, I thought you said, should I talk about it?
Oh,
and I was like, yeah, please.
Do you want to? Can I
just that... No, just that people are speculating that because the teams were announced, but Gabe Kidd wasn't on it. But if he gets added, or he's like around, like maybe the crowd will interfere at the like there it'll be unbalanced.
You can't have that.
The good boys will need a savior, a big strong one who has beef against Gabe Kidd.
That's true.
They'll need an even gooder boy. Not Hook. Not Hook, Ann. Not Hook. Eddie
said Hook.
Prepare yourself.
Eddie did retweet something or re-Instagram something that was like playing into it, which was just like, okay, don't, please. I'm very delicate.
Yeah, don't toy with me.
Listen to what I said about how I watched. Hey, Eddie, listen to what I said about how I watched the episode last night. I'm not a well woman, okay? I don't understand what this is anymore. Like,
and I think if Eddie comes back, it would give me some clarity about what this is, probably.
Maybe. It would be something I love. Like, I was just like, yeah. Mm-hmm, I'd love to see Eddie. I want him to be well. I hope he's well. I hope I see him. He's really one of the goodest boys. So that'd be fun. And I always love when he's fighting Mox. I love the idea of Mox being like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? And Eddie just being I can't, you gone crazy, man. What am I supposed to do? You gone totally crazy.
Man, remember those promos when we just started watching with Mox and Eddie telling Mox that he's the reason that Eddie's mom doesn't have grandkids and stuff?
You know,
boy, we didn't appreciate what we had.
No. But also, it's like, to any of you out there who've ever been like, why are they the way they are? It's like, imprinting is real. You know, it's like you see it and you're like, that's what
where
this
we
is.
learned what wrestling was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, it's going to rock. Who knows what'll happen because of it. And thank you to everybody for their bodies. And thank you to Kenny for his vim and vigor. And keep it up, buddy. And you go visit that stable anytime you need. Speaking of the Bucks' other middlemen, which we were a while ago, not really right now, there was a brief Okada backstage promo where, I guess, Speedball Mike Bailey had called Okada out. And Renee was like, what do you think about that? And Okada was like, I think that you can't call me out. I have the belt. You can't call me out. You don't call me out. I call you out. And yes, we will have a match, but because I'm calling you out. Not because you called me out. And it's like 6 of one, half dozen of another, my boy. And then he kind of left and he came back and seemed like he was going to say bitch. But then he didn't say bitch. And that was very funny.
Yeah.
But
it was very funny. Way to twist it. Everyone else has been saying bitch so much that it's like, yeah, it's dead now.
Good for you.
I like the idea where he's like, you guys made it not cool.
And that
it's not fun anymore.
Kind of right. But also, honestly. I was like, oh, is this going to be a character turn? Did you go to the stable with Kenny? And you guys are both like really getting your heads in the game?
Yeah, everybody also talking about how you haven't gotten out of second gear for the whole time you've been at AEW. Okada. Something to think about.
Whining works, I guess.
Yeah.
Ricochet fought Anthony Bowens on Dynamite and won, and was kind of gloating about it. And then as he was coming up the ramp to exit, he got intercepted by Mark Briscoe, who had come out with a stretcher. Mark Briscoe and Ricochet were already scheduled to fight at... Mm-hmm. Okay. We're already scheduled to fight at Double or Nothing. I don't believe we knew at that point, unless we did, what kind of match it would be. Or we did.
It was announced on the internet, but not on Dynamite. I only know because somebody put it... I was at dinner with Sarah when someone put it in our Discord, and I was like, it's a stretcher match. And she was like, now what on earth is that?
And I also thought, what on earth is that? And Anne, I believe you looked into it. Would you like to share with us what a stretcher match is?
It's like a coffin match, just the way you win, you have to put a man in a stretcher.
Yeah.
It's very stupid.
Pretty normal, yeah.
And you know what?
What is wrestling?
What is wrestling? What is wrestling? Such a good...
Remember the time that Jack Perry buried Christian Cage in a coffin?
Yeah.
After talking about his dead dad for a while?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It was the best of times.
Wrestling's weird.
Wrestling's weird. Do you think, so you have a stretcher match and you have a coffin match. Coffin match, put you in the coffin. Where does a coffin go? A grave. Dead. Put you in a stretcher. Where does the stretcher go? Ambulance. Go to the hospital. Yeah. Is there anything there? Like, it's like, if you hate someone, like, more, do you have a coffin match?
Oh.
Like, it's like, go right to the grave, don't pass go.
Right. But, or you're like, yeah, I don't like you, but, like, let's see if the doctors can do something.
I just want to teach you a tough lesson, and I want you to have some time at the hospital to think about your life. To stare out the window and think about your life.
Partly how much you hate them, and partly, like, if you have a goth thing going on, otherwise.
Yeah, okay, yeah, could be a simple aesthetic situation. Yeah. So,
which Mike Bailey doesn't have the goth aesthetic. He's
more of a hospital.
This is our Mark Briscoe.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of MBs now, but this is our Mark Briscoe.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Mark Briscoe has neither a goth nor a hospital aesthetic.
You don't think he looks kind of clean and sterile?
You're right. He's welcome in any operating room that I happen to need to be in.
I think he should do their surgery. Yeah. Like, don't you think that you'd feel like really secure and calm if you were laying there waiting for the anesthesia to kick in, and the last thing you saw was Mark Briscoe?
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had to choose one wrestler to be on your surgical team, you have to.
Just on the team, or doing any specific role?
I'm going to say that it's a not insignificant role, but maybe not the lead role. Because that doesn't seem safe.
Anesthesiologist. I mean, that's pretty dangerous.
I'm going to say that one. I'm going to say one of the
more of like a circulating nurse kind of person.
Yeah, one of the key stuff passers, or like someone that the surgeon very could be like hold
needs
this
to be
open,
saying
or like
3 mgs of lidocaine,
right, or like
more suction.
Yes, exactly. Or like they might be like do you want to give this a try?
Do you want to give this a try? Like a med student, kind of.
Okay, one wrestler. Who are you choosing?
Wow. I wasn't even thinking about which wrestler because I was so distracted by what they were doing in the operating room.
Anything they want, probably knowing wrestlers.
Well, I keep being like, this is kind of a fallacy, but I'm like, who's really technically good at their job? That'll mean they're probably
good technical wrestler.
good with their
Brian
hands. Yeah, like it'll be
Actually,
good
Brian Danielson
hand-eye
might be.
coordination.
I do think he'd be I don't know. I feel like he'd
be
want to. I
responsible.
feel like he'd want to explore in there. You know, like.
Well, that's true. That is the risk. It's like he'd want to do a good job, but he would be too interested.
Just be like, what's going on? The human body is wild. It's like, shut up. Just pass him the Q-tips or whatever they use.
Yeah.
God, we'll have to think on this. Listeners,
What's the most deranged answer you could come up with? Like, if you wanted to come up with a comedy answer, because I think it would be Chris Jericho.
Juice Robinson.
Juice Robinson, yeah. I mean, Mark Briscoe is pretty far up there, too.
Yeah.
I feel like Chris Jericho would just be doing, like, a Grey's Anatomy sketch. And, like, he'd just be like, what have I seen doctors do on TV?
He'd be having the time of his life. Like, that operating room would be entertained, you know?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. He'd have everybody else in that room in the palm of his hand.
Which is exactly where you don't want them to be when you've been cut open. God, but it's fun to think about. Okay. Hurt People segment for Dynamite this week, 2. So we're...
Oh, actually, before you go on, can I just say about poor little Anthony Bowens?
Yeah.
It is so sad that he is the most boring man alive, because he seems so nice, and I like him, but it's like, baseball isn't a personality.
It's
and
not.
I think seeing any baseball player, that'll show. And he's dull. He needs someone charismatic. Like, I will say...
Cold
like,
as ice,
you know,
Ariane.
Max Caster, he had highs and he had lows, but he was never boring.
Highs are so
true.
high.
So
I
high.
will say, I think it's very offensive of Anthony Bowens and Billy Gunn to do the scissor thing without Max Caster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that's his
dump
thing.
Max Caster and you take his pervert gesture. Stop it.
Jail
Stop
for
it.
mother. Okay.
Yeah.
Come up with something else.
Yeah.
Innovate.
Come up with some nasty baseball. I'm sure that baseball heads are saying gross stuff to doing gross stuff to each other. Pretend to
do the baseball butt pat.
do the butt pat. Yeah. Or I was thinking something with the bats, maybe. There's bats and balls in baseball, so it's like there's a lot of material to work with.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
it's a rich territory.
You guys can touch bats.
You can touch bats, you can touch balls, you can touch butts. But what you can't do is scissor, I'm afraid.
No,
you can't.
It's not right.
really fucked up.
It's really fucked up. Thank you, Leah, for calling that out, and thank you, Anne, for pointing out that it's not quite enough to be getting on with. Maybe. Although I will say, I haven't seen any of his Collision promos where I think he kind of explains the 5-tool player thing, and if you haven't seen those, even though commentary is gamely being like, and when you play baseball, to have the 5 tools is one of the best things. Like, if you haven't seen those, this man is not coming out in a baseball uniform. I'll say that. It's it's a little crop top above the nipples, and the nipples are eyes, as we've said before,
which I do love.
And he just keeps going, woo! So the gimmick is kind of man showing nipples says woo.
Well, again, I think we said this before. His gimmick should be like the happiest guy at the Pride Parade, because we'd fucking live for it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. The Hurt People segment count for Dynamite was 2, I believe. We had one backstage kind of mix and mingle with the Hurt People, MJF, and both their attorneys for some reason. And then we had the in-ring contract signing, which was mostly devoted to relentless maligning of the good people of Albuquerque, New Mexico, but also to some simmering tensions between the men signing the contracts, because Bobby Lashley was the last to sign and didn't want to. But then the recap I read said, after appearing to have a brief word with the Hurt Syndicate's attorney, he did sign. And then the contract was signed, and MJF is in the group. And you might say, why has any of this happened? To which I would say,
Great question.
We don't know. And you might also say, like, have we gotten any hints over the weeks that might give us some more insight into why any of this is happening? To which I would say, no, we haven't.
No. And you might say, what match is this building? Say, No match. No. Wrestling isn't about matches.
What's actually building this great match with Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara that we're about to talk about. MJF is celebrating being in the Hurt Syndicate for some reason. Not for us to know.
For some reason.
And Sammy and Dustin come out. And Dustin Rhodes cuts a promo on the Hurt People and MJF, which I did transcribe in its entirety, on the night of Dynamite. Listening to this, as Leah pointed out, I was in a bit of an existential crisis. I was having my wrestling crisis of confidence, and I did keep saying, "What is this? What is this?" And it wasn't good. When I rewatched it, it still wasn't good, but I did say, "I'm so happy. I do love Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes." So in some ways, perhaps an effective segment. Anyone have any favorite lines they'd like to share?
I did love the one day guys thing where he just reversed the order. I loved when he said it was an unforgettable night that you'll just never forget.
And there was a pause where he realized that he
sentences.
didn't have anywhere to go with it. It was an unforgettable night that you'll just never forget. Thank you so much, Dustin Rhodes. Let's see what else we got here.
Now, why did they not let Sammy say a single word?
I don't know, but he looked so happy. He didn't look mad about it. I did once again. I was saying, "Oh, Sammy," and he was just kind of like behind us and being like, "And I'm here," and he's saying all the right stuff. Let me read a little segment from the end here, and I don't even know if I think we both might have blacked out a little bit, so I don't know if we registered this. Leah, I think you were having a less deep experience of this promo than we were. There is nothing you can do to me and Sammy that bigger and frankly better monsters have already done. Wrong. We've both been to hell. We've both looked at the devil and kicked his teeth in and ripped, teared, and clawed our way out. We are one day guys. We work around the clock, no off time. Do not think this is going to be a walk in the park, because it's not. We fight with heart, with honor, with fire, with passion, with soul, with heart. Our work ethic can be... You can't touch it. And one more thing. If I were a betting man, I would bet on the day one guys. And upon rewatch, I stood and I applauded. And I said, "What the fuck?" That's crazy.
His energy in this, like every time Dustin Rhodes gives a promo, I'm just like, wow, you're madder than it seemed. Like usually you have such a hangdog look, and it's like, and why are you so mad
Where's
at
all
the
this
Hurt
coming
Syndicate?
from?
Yeah.
Where's this coming from? I don't know. We work around the clock. I said, Sammy Guevara?
Yeah, when he was like, "We don't
the devil in the face and kicked his teeth at like Sammy has?
I guess maybe if he was jumping off a ladder and it was by accident.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it was just like he also was like, "We don't take time off," and it was like Sammy just came back from a pretty long paternity leave, which I don't begrudge him. I
don't
believe in
begrudge him at
paternity
all.
leave, but
No,
yeah,
for sure.
Just a fact check.
And also, it was just very funny for him to be like, "If I had to bet, I'd bet on the day one guys," and I was like, No one in the history of wrestling would ever believe that you guys are beating the Hurt Syndicate.
This is impossible. Yeah. It's not possible.
No, it's not even a little bit plausible.
And that's what makes this so unethical in a way, to send an old dog out there to get fought and killed.
The average age in this match, by the way,
and
pretty wild.
I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I may have loved this. I love Sammy now. He's my child, my useless child.
It
as long
really
as
does
he's
help
silent.
Silent,
it's like he doesn't talk, and he's next to all of the worst people I've ever met. You know, so
and he looks so
great.
enthusiastic about what Dustin is saying. Like, you tell him, Dad, I got it.
Yeah.
Yes, kid.
Yeah.
Someone said
MJF called them both white trash, but Sammy's
I was
not white.
What? I don't think he's white, and also, what a weird thing to say.
Right before you speak.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I guess we'll watch them get killed on Sunday, unless they win.
That would be the Toni being like, "You can't predict me" moment.
Yeah.
That would the internet would be destroyed, and I would love it.
The thing is,
I would be like, I don't care.
I would pop huge for it at this point.
Huge. Yeah.
I mean, and that's
And then I'd be like, maybe everything they did was brilliant
Right.
if they were building to that moment.
Well, if Shelton Benjamin came back the next day and was like, I blame MJF, we brought MJF into the faction and we lost to fucking Dustin Rhodes, we must kill MJF. Suddenly I'd be riveted. I'd be like,
I know.
Of course.
Especially if he came back and it was kind of like a Arrested Development, Jay, Walter, whatever moment where he was like, and that's why you don't sex traffic.
Now that's some retconning that I could get behind.
Oh yeah, I'd accept that apology.
Yeah, I did. I feel like this is the first week that I saw people talking about this whole storyline, like the intention of it is somehow to like heel turn the hurt people, that like they were like too fake, that people liked them too much. So now they're, I don't know. I just feel like I saw a bunch of like tweets about it and was just like, what are you talking? Is that what's going on here? What is this? What is wrestling? I don't know what's happening. Whatever. Okay, and then final topic. One very normal backstage segment on Dynamite with Dax and Cash FTR about how they're going to confront Nigel and Danny on Collision. And we did have a segment from Nigel on Collision being like, I'm going to do the match, Danny, and we'll have a meeting about, we'll get together, we'll talk this through. And Toni seemed supportive, so whatever happened on the home front must have worked.
there was like a very funny moment during commentary where, and thank you to Chai Mothboy for clipping this for us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Where,
You truly,
so
you
helpful.
cannot imagine how helpful it was.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I think Taz, somebody was like, Nigel, like you're going to be great in this match. And oh no, it was Don Callis was like, this is going to be a great match for you. And Nigel was like, thanks. Toni, would you like to say something nice to me?
It was funny too, and Tony Schiavone was doing a lot of like, well, I don't agree with everything Nigel says, but he's a great broadcast partner, like as though he was trying to like get ahead of like, we're not married. He's actually just a broadcast partner, you guys. But we heard the word partner, Tony. So yeah,
Extremely funny. And I don't know why it's like now, of course, Moonstruck, my favorite movie of all time. But now I can't stop thinking about Toni Schiavone as Rose, and I'm thinking, what's this at the end when they're at the breakfast table, and can't remember what Cosmo says, but basically like, I wasted my life, and Rose goes, "You are not a failure."
Yeah.
That's how like I'm imagining the fight going down.
He goes, sometimes it's hard when a man looks at his life and thinks
it's nothing.
His life is nothing. And she says, your life is not nothing.
Yes.
And then she says, Cosmo, you have to stop seeing her. And then he stands up and then slaps the table. And then he sits down and says, okay. And you can just imagine Toni Schiavone going, Nigel, you can't be in this match. And Nigel stands up and he slams his fist on the broadcast desk. And then he says, okay.
Well, but he is going to be in the match, so something went wrong there. Something got turned around. But I agree. That's how I would envision it perfectly, of course.
Yeah.
Wow. So thank you to Toni and Nigel for their performance in the seminal classic Moonstruck. And Dax and Cash didn't say anything in their promo because Stokely was talking for them, and I said, I'm eating crow. I'm eating crow. I said someone has to talk for them. The wrong of me. I've said it so many times since. I'm very sorry. I'm really penitent. They can't have anybody talking for them because the secret sauce of this was them trying to talk and doing a really super weird job.
Imagine if in this episode they had talked and had said something so bizarre,
wish they had.
something you could never have imagined. Like in the state we were in, I think it would have taken me to
I
a new level
them.
of consciousness, possibly.
I need to hear them fumbling through being a heel and like really trying to what they think a heel should be and just really trying to work through it. I need that. Stokely knows what he's doing. It's terrible.
It's awful.
Stokely, go with someone who needs you.
Yeah. I mean, someone who's bad is really bad. It's like...
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, who would that be? I don't know. The longer you're in wrestling, the more you're like, when someone doesn't know what they're doing, but they're trying something, like they're really trying, that's kind of the best thing of all. Like, just, you lock in immediately. You're just like, they're so committed to this, and I have no fucking clue what's going on. Now,
It is, you're just constantly watching football players doing sketches, you know? It's like, wow, this is entertainment you could not dream of.
it's unscriptable. It's unscriptable.
It's unscriptable.
That's why we'll never be WWE girls. It's unscriptable. Was there anything you wanted to talk about tonight that you did not get the opportunity to talk about? No.
I feel like there was something I wanted to say.
Did you want
but I
to
can't
say
think of
something
what
about
it
the
was.
Chris and Willow clip?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's not,
No,
it's
that
not
wasn't-
that big of a thought. But I have to say, I saw, again, thank you, Chai Mouthboy. I watched the Collision promo that they did. I am more convinced, more than ever, that Willow and Chris made up 6 weeks ago. And they are enacting some plan that hinges on people still believing that they're fighting, because the level that they were smirking at each other while they were like, "You want to fight again?"
Okay, what if Chris is the seventh man? Yes.
She
I'm
could
loving that.
take out Gabe
Yeah,
Kidd.
easy.
Yes.
No problem.
Galaxy brain.
Easy.
I think that's right, Leah, and I won't hear anything else, any other explanation. All right, on that note, I've been Allie.
I've been Ann.
And I've been Leah.
This is Tunnel Talk. Our theme is by Chris Corkin. You can find us on Twitter, Tumblr, Twitch, and Blue Sky at Tunnel Talk Pod via email, tunneltalkpod@gmail.com. We have a souvenir stand. You can find it at chop-keys.com. You can find us on our feed, on the Social Suplex Network feed, where you can check out all the other great podcasts on the network. And you can find us on the Social Suplex Network Discord. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. And stay frosty. And as always, please come back next week. And everybody's so proud of me for doing a good job.
Okay, you nailed that. Nailed it.
Incredible.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.